What's going on, guys? It's me, Ranesh, and in this one, I want to talk to you about something so important, which is how do you go from being interested to being committed? Look, I don't know when you're watching this, but it's January 31st, and we are done with the first month of the year. And you may have started on those things that you were interested in, but how do you turn them into commitments so that way you get the outcomes that you want? I'm going to put this down here, and I'm going to share with you some of my own best practices from my own journal, my own notebook here, on how I am going from the things that I'm interested in to turning those interests to commitments. Unless you turn your interests to commitments, you will not get your outcomes. So I want to share 5 tactics, strategies, mind plays with you that will help you go from, hey, this was an interest I started at the beginning of the year, or this is an interest I started, last week ago. But you're not getting any traction with it because you haven't turned it into a commitment. So that's what we're going to dive into. I'm going to show you exactly how you turn those interests into commitments in this one. So number 1, and I'm literally sharing these with you. These are things that I've written down, things that have helped me move the needle in my day, helped me progress in my life. I'm going to share them with you right here. So if you see me looking at this, it's me just looking through some of the most valuable things in my life that I've used to actually go and take an interest and turn that into a commitment so I can get that outcome. So number 1, you may sense that right now it's hard to push ahead because what you started a month ago or a week ago, you're not seeing the results. You're not seeing the results. So you have to understand that it's okay to not see early results. You see, an interest is something you do when it's convenient. The world is kind of there for you and everything's okay. And the commitment is something you push through even when there's no early results. So you started that workout, you started that relationship, you started that new job. You don't see those outcomes and those results that you thought you would see. That's okay. It's part of the game. You just began the process. So be easy with yourself. Understand that, hey, you're not going to see the things that you want to see overnight. It takes time. Nothing was built in a day. That's number 1. Be okay with the lack of early results. So if you're on this thing and you're like, wow, I really want to do this. I don't know if I should do this. And you start getting these thoughts of limitation because you don't see the results that you thought you'd see. That's okay. It's part of the plan. It's part of the game. You don't have to see those results yet, right? Number 2, realize that the world is going to make it very inconvenient for you to really push forward on your dreams. Your day, your events, the circumstances that come your way, whether it's family, obligations, whether it's your work, your job, your boss, whoever it is, things are going to be inconvenient. That time, maybe it's late at night and you just don't have the energy to move forward. Well, those are the times where you don't have all green lights. Those are the times where things get inconvenient. That's when you have to say, hey, you have to have this belief. My dreams are not sold at the convenience store. My dreams are not sold at the convenience store. What does that mean? What do you get at the convenience store? You usually get the bare essentials: deodorant, hair gel, a pack of gum, soft drinks. You don't get your dreams at the convenience store. You see, you have to move forward on things even when it's not convenient. Just because it didn't get convenient in your day for you to start on that thing you want to do or continue it and you started it last week, that doesn't mean that you don't push forward. That's the time where you say, hey, I sense this. God, it's really sticky. It's not that convenient. And I could totally just Netflix and chill. Or I could just go and, do what I was doing and not pursue my dreams. Well, because it's so much more convenient to do that. Or they told me this one thing and that pissed me off. And now it's just easier to settle in to who I was before. You see, to turn an interest into a commitment, you have to tell your mind, your body, your actions that, hey, I'm doing this whether it's convenient or it's not convenient. I'm doing this whether the world makes it easy on me to do it or if it's a real like pain in the whatever to do this, I'm still gonna do this, right? You have to commit to that. Realize your dreams are not sold at the convenience store. Number 3, to go from an interest to a commitment in anything that you're doing, you have to give yourself undistracted time. Undistracted time. These are blocks of time within your day, every day, where you're actually doing that thing. And you're not scrolling through your phone. You're not, on your laptop, looking at YouTube videos. You're actually sitting down and you are not distracted. You are looking at one thing and you have this flow, this mind flow of continuity where your mind is sticking on one project at a time, where it's undistracted. And what I do here is I usually just write down in my planner, I write it down, I say, hey, what do I want to do for this period of time, this 2-hour block? How am I going to approach it? What am I going to do? What are some of the things I want to get done? I start thinking of outcome-based thinking, which is, hey, these are the outcomes I want to achieve in 2 hours. This is not research. This is outcomes that I want to achieve. Now, you may use that undistracted time to get some research done, but don't fool research for results, right? Research helps you get the results, but you need to sit down, do what you got to do, undistracted, without anything coming at you, and really start just doing that thing. You have to do that every day. So if you have a thing that you're interested in that you started 2 weeks ago at the beginning of the year, whatever it was, and you've just seen it kind of just wail off and it's just not really, it's on the sidelines now and it's not really at the top of mind, well, it's because you haven't really taken blocks and chunks of time daily to say, hey, I'm just focusing on this. So refocus on that. And if you're starting off the second month of the year and you've lost some of that focus, this is a call to action to say, hey, refocus on those chunks of time where you're not distracted. Number 4, get an accountability coach or mentor. Here's what I mean by that. Unless you have others in your environment holding you accountable for what you want to do, it's not going to happen, right? Because you may go to bed late one night and it's just not convenient to wake up for that workout. Or you may be super hungry and that cookie's right there and you didn't really plan on it and you just took down 3 or 4 of those. Look, all this doesn't happen to me, right? But the way I remedy this, the way I fix this is I get some accountability coaches. Some of them may be family members that are going to call me out and say, hey, Ranesh, aren't you doing that whole nutrition right now? Or maybe a trainer that I know I have to meet every morning at 7 o'clock, no matter rain or shine, no matter when I went to bed, I got to meet that person. So who are your accountability coaches? So if you have these things you started on and you're seeing that I need to keep that momentum going, well, you got to get someone to say, hey, you told me that you're going to be focusing on this project this year. Why are you distracting yourself and picking up 10 different other projects? Accountability, mentor, or coach, have them hold you to your standards. I'm not saying that you can't, but they can help. And they can actually help from the outside looking in, right? Every great leader, every great player, athlete has a coach. And that coach is looking at their stroke, looking at their form, looking at their habits in their life from the outside. And you can see something totally differently when you look at it from the outside looking in, right? Number 5, shift your identity to the person that says, hey, when I start something or when I start making a move on something, I'm the person that finishes it. I'm the person that sees it through no matter what. I get it done. I see it through. And the first thing you can do is never, ever, ever talk about yourself from that frame of reference that, hey, you know what, it's just, I'm having a tough time finishing this, or I usually, I start something and I jump. Don't identify with your past. Don't identify what you've done historically. Instead, replace that with, hey, I'm getting to be more consistent. I'm getting to be more focused. I'm really getting to be more disciplined at this and really account for that discipline, create structures and habits for that discipline. So you have to have that accountability partner, but then you also have to say, hey, I'm going to shift my identity. I do not want to identify with the person that has an interest, starts it, and then leaves it. Even if I was that in the past, this day forward, my new identity is someone that starts something and commits to it. Because when you commit, when you decide, the world, situations, people, circumstances will come together to support your decision. It may not always be convenient, but you'll see the world will line up. The more you line up, the more your world will line up. It's weird. It's not something that is like 1 + 1 = 2, but you'll see that, hey, man, I made that decision. I'm moving on this. And it's unbelievable. That person called me, or they said this, or I found this when I was researching this. Boom, things start to line up. Shift your identity to that person who is focused on the long tail, not just the one-hit wonder, someone that does this repetitively and they're consistent at it. And if it gets boring, then you got to ask yourself, hey, is the thing boring, or am I not bringing this new, fresh energy perspective to the thing that I'm doing? So you have to do that, right? So once again, all 5, realize that you have to push forward even though you don't have early results. It's okay. Stay the course. Number 2, anticipate inconvenience. It's going to be there. Anticipate it. Number 3, we have give yourself undistracted time. Chunks of time where you're focusing on that thing, undistracted. Number 4, give yourself a coach or an accountability partner. It will change the game for you, and they will hold you to your standard on top of you holding yourself to that standard, right? And number 5, realize that you got to shift your identity. Don't identify with who you were. Instead, make that decision of, hey, I'm getting to be this, that, and the other thing. Hope that made sense. I hope these 5 will help you take whatever you started this year or last month or last week to an interest, to a commitment. Your things in your life will not come about. You will not get your outcomes unless you go from having an interest to making it a commitment. So I hope that made sense. I will see you in the next one. As always, have an incredible day and live inspired.